Hi everyone, welcome back to Inspired Up Podcast, and it's me, your host, Princess. I was reading a book last week. I'm still reading it rather, and I'm not even done. But that book has been so amazing. I'm not going to spill. Should I spill? But the name of the book is Ego is the Enemy, and I can't really remember the author of the book. But I read the chapter, which was like, we're in our heads so much. We're in our heads too much, and it just delays the progress that we're supposed to be making in life. And I could not relate. I could relate so well. I was like, wow, this is so true. This is so profound to me. But it was so amazing that I'm like, you know what, I have to give my 2 cents. I have to record a podcast about it, because that's what we do on this podcast. We learn and we digest things. And I've been thinking about how we want to achieve so many great things in life. We want to do absolutely beautiful things, but we can't even take the first step. Why? Because we're thinking too much. We're thinking about the possible ways it could go wrong, or we're thinking about the beautiful ways that it could go right. We're not actually doing anything to make it go right or to even prevent it from going wrong. And I'm not saying like, oh, you shouldn't make plans, or you shouldn't actually assess the risk involved in doing certain things, or you shouldn't think, you should just dive in head first. I'm not saying that, but it gets to a point where you actually have to get up and put in the effort. If you're thinking about making lunch and you're thinking of, okay, you wash the rice, you put in the spices and you cover it, and then you dish it up, and it's going to be so amazing, it's going to be so delicious. If you sit there and keep thinking about it, you're never actually going to eat lunch. So just see your life as that. If you think you have to think about it more just so that bad things won't happen, it's never going to work. If the rice is going to end up bad or good, it all depends on you actually standing up and walking up to the kitchen. The thing about being in your head too much, it actually blinds you from every step that you're supposed to take, because you could be imagining this how it will go, but once it's time, you realize that it's so different and this is not how it's supposed to go at all. And how would you ever know without actually taking the first step? And more often than not, the things we fear the most may or may not even happen because we're spiraling too much. These are things that are not common. And why we live in our heads too much? Because sometimes this could create an illusion of false progress. If you feel you're going to study tomorrow, you're going to go to that cute cafe down the road, if you just keep thinking about it, you start to imagine yourself as that person that studies so much. So that makes you feel like, yes, you're actually studying, but you're not studying. If you're planning a business, you write out the business plan, you write out every single step, you write out how you're going to make profits, you write out everything, like it's a solid plan. You may feel like, wow, like you did this, but in reality, you've actually not done anything. Genuinely, you've actually not done anything. I could plan podcast episodes, but if I don't turn on my mic to record it, have I done a podcast episode? No. And it's as simple as that. If you don't do it, no matter the planning that goes into it, it doesn't count. Yes, planning is good, but planning is only good when you actually follow through with the plan, when you actually put in the action towards that plan. And if you realize that you keep planning so much and you don't do anything, maybe it's because you worry about what others might think. If you worry about how you're going to look because you posted a couple of videos on the internet, or if you worry about how you're going to look because you launched a new business on Instagram or you launched a new business on TikTok, trust me, worrying about that actually blinds you from posting your new business or posting a couple of videos on the internet. Trust me, I've started a new business on the internet and I also post a couple videos on the same internet, and it's less exhausting when I don't care what people think. It's less exhausting when I'm just like, you know what, this is who I am, this is what I want, and this is the only way to get to what I want, and this is the only way to get to who I want to be. So would I choose strangers' opinions over what I actually want to do, or would I choose my opinion and would I choose my future self? And why we may be in our heads so much is because, to be honest, it's comfortable there. Thinking about making jollof rice is actually easier than actually making jollof rice. Take it from me. Writing a business plan in your notes app, thinking of all the amazing things that you're going to do, is really easier than actually doing it. Decorating beautiful things on Canva is easier than posting it for everyone to see on social media. Scripting, recording is easier than posting it and knowing that people would see this. People I know, people I work with, people I go to school with would see these videos. It's easier. So know these things. Know that you're just choosing to be comfortable, and we know nothing good happens in the comfort zone. So we have to escape and we have to run away from our comfort zone. You have to do one thing a day to get out of your comfort zone, because our comfort zone is small. If you want to do good things and big things in life, you have to find a way to come out of this little box or this little circle. And sometimes you can just think out loud, say it out loud. I don't want to post this video today because I think someone I went to school 6 years ago would see me and judge me. Now you see how crazy that sounds. You see how not good that sounds. Because look at this perspective here. It's not everything that other people do that I agree with, but they still live their life comfortably. They're still doing whatever cringe thing that I don't agree with. But who cares? It's their life. I'm not going to put my own opinion on them. I'm not going to stop them from living their life. So why should I allow them to stop me from living my life? I'm sure people post things that you don't agree with, and it's calm, it's spoon found in the kitchen. But why is it when it's your turn, you're avoiding posting something that other people won't agree with? Why is it when it's your turn, you're avoiding doing anything at all? Let's not even say posting, because that's such a small circle. But why is it when it's your turn, you're avoiding doing anything that other people won't agree with? Why do other people have the chance to live their life freely, do whatever they want, and you're not giving yourself that chance, you're not giving yourself that opportunity? That's so unfair to you. The second thing is that we spiral into limiting beliefs and negative thoughts. We're just thinking of the possible ways it could go wrong. We're thinking of how we're so not good enough. We're thinking of our previous failures. But why are we doing these things to ourselves? Why are you torturing yourself? Telling yourself that you fail, you're not ready, you're not good enough, or you're comparing yourself to the next person, comparing your journey to another person's journey, or comparing your things to another person. These are just traps to hold you back. Because if you're comparing yourself to someone else, you know what? I'm not even going to sit here and tell you not to compare yourself, because comparison to an extent is good. It helps you to get better. And at the beginning, for sure, someone else might be better than you. Someone else would always, in fact, be better than you. But the only way to get better than you currently are is by doing. The only way to even come close to the person that you're seeing is by putting yourself out there. Imagine you see this business that is thriving online. How do you think they are thriving? It's by showing up consistently. But then if you're comparing you, who doesn't show up, who is so shy to show up, you're comparing your quality to their quality, or your sales to their sales. Of course, you can't compare where you don't compete. Of course, they're going to be so much more better than you, because they've put in the work, they've put in the effort. So if you want to even come close to what you admire so much online, you actually have to put in the effort. I'm trying to connect these two things together. This is who you see, this is what you want, this is who you are, which you don't necessarily want. The distance is that action, is that showing up, is coming out of your comfort zone, is breaking away from these limiting beliefs. And the thing about negative thoughts and limiting beliefs is that it becomes self-fulfilling. Once you keep saying these negative things about yourself, trust me, at some point, it's going to manifest in your life, because our mind actually affects our reality. If you see a glass half full, it's going to be a glass half full. But if you see a glass half empty, it's going to be a glass half empty. And the only way to do it is to consciously hack your brain, consciously speak positive things over yourself. Don't allow those negative things to get the best of you. So speak positive things over yourself so the negative things wouldn't take over. The next one is that ego is the enemy, which is actually the name of the book. But to be honest, if you are someone that kind of has a high ego, I would really recommend reading that book. Not to humble you or anything, but just to improve the quality of your life. Because trust me, ego is something that is really the enemy. Ego is something that could hold you back in so many ways. Because if you want to, I'm just going to use a business, for example. If you're starting a business, because I feel like this is something that everyone can relate to. But if you're starting a business and you think, for this example, I'll use learning a new skill. If you want to learn a new skill, and instead of you to actually put in those hours and put in the work, you're thinking to yourself, I'm that girl, I'm so good, I'm amazing, I don't really need to do too much, I'm very skilled, I learn things really quickly. If you keep telling yourself these things, you may never actually turn on your system, turn on your laptop and put in the work and put in the hours. You keep thinking to yourself that you can do it and you can do it. And then when it's time to show the world about this skill that you learned, you would be underprepared because you did not try So ego kind of blinds you into feeling like you don't need to put in the work. This overconfidence, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't be confident, or the book isn't suggesting that you shouldn't be confident. You should be confident, you should be secure, but not to a point where you feel like because of your confidence you can bypass or take the shortcut towards growth, because ego will make you feel like you can take a shortcut when there's literally no shortcut. You have to walk the path, you have to go the journey. Ego makes you feel like you're in a plane where you can get there as quickly as possible, but no, you have to do the journey. You can be confidently walking the journey, confidently and humbly putting in the work. But ego makes you feel like you don't have to do these things. It's for the other people, for the people that are not so smart as me. It's going to end up bad for you. And ego isn't only overconfidence. There's also a low self-esteem version, because you're still thinking about yourself too much. When you start undervaluing your abilities, you start to think everybody's watching you, everybody's waiting for you to fail. How self-absorbed are you that you think everybody's watching you? I think everybody's going to stop their daily activities just to say, oh, look, she failed, or just to analyze everything that you're doing. No one cares. Everybody's busy with themselves, the same way you're busy with yourself. The same way you worry about yourself is the same way other people worry about themselves. And frankly, if there are actually people that kind of also haunt you in that way, you feel like, yes, they would stop their day to just talk about me, then congrats, you have fans. And if these people are watching you, then you have to give them a good show. Make it interesting, make your life interesting. Focus on yourself to give them something better to watch. Like, this is just a mindset shift, but don't let them stop you from living your life. Like I said, other people can live their life freely, and you deserve it too. So if you realize that ego has been stopping you, whether it's the overconfident version or the low self-esteem version, check your assumptions. Talk to someone that you truly trust. How am I doing? What do I need to improve on? What can I stop doing? Or you can even talk with yourself, because you know yourself the best. Don't believe everything that you think. You may think that you're so smart and then you don't need to. You may be wrong, bro. You may be wrong. Go and put in the work. Put in those hours. Burn the midnight candle. And you may also be thinking that you're not good enough and you're never going to get there. You may also be wrong. You may actually be smarter than you think. So the two ends, it depends on where you are. You need to take precautions. You need to take the right steps. But 4, I believe, is analysis paralysis. Another way we're in our head too much. We're analyzing. We're thinking of 1,000,001 ways this could go right, or 1,000,001 ways this could go wrong. If you convince yourself that you need to be perfect before you even start, you're never going to start. You're never going to be perfect, in fact, because how do you get better over time is by putting in the action and making sure you do better the second time over. But if you never even give yourself a chance, but you think planning will make it better, it's not going to get better. And the more you spin your head, the more you get so tired about it, because there's no real progress, there's no real reward. Things have been going on in your head, you're exhausted. And I can imagine planning a podcast episode, but because I don't feel it's perfect, I won't record it. Trust me, that would never be me. The earlier you realize being done is better than being perfect, the better for you. Because once it's done, you still get a second chance to do something else in life. You don't have one task on this earth to do. You have multiple, whether that's mini or big tasks to do daily. So if you focus on this one mini task and you want it to be perfect, you're never going to be fully equipped for the other things going on in your life, and you kind of slow down your progress and delay your own journey. So the best way to get out of this loop is to pick something and commit to just doing it. Give yourself a deadline. I'm going to get this done in 2 hours. I'm going to get this done by the end of this weekend. And that should be it. I'm going to stop thinking about this by this time. I'm going to finally launch that business by this time, because it's going to get better over time. And if you don't believe me, look at any business you admire or any person you admire. Scroll down to on their Instagram page or like their business page, and you can scroll down on their social media years ago. You can scroll down years down, and you see how they were not as good as they are today, but they still showed up the way that they were, if that makes sense. You can scroll down 10 years on a business page, and it may look a bit shaky, it may look a bit tacky, but the most important thing that got them to where they are today is that they showed up, is that they put in the work, is that they still came out to launch no matter how it looked. And you may think, well, even their 10 years ago is still better than me currently. Well, guess what? If you want to achieve their 10 years ago, you still have to put in the effort. There's no way you can achieve it without putting in the effort, because you can see that they got better by being consistent. So how can you get better? By being consistent. And the last one, which ties in perfectly, is that progress only comes from taking action. You can never grow without doing something uncomfortable. You can never grow in your comfort zone, period. And that action that you need to take to make progress exists outside of your head. It doesn't exist in your head. There's no action that you can take in your head, in fact. So start imperfectly, learn through doing. I think last year I came to terms with the fact that I'm always going to learn on the job, because there's so little I can learn before I actually do the thing. The learning actually comes from doing the thing. How do you learn to edit a podcast? You have to record a podcast. How do you learn to make thumbnails? You have to make thumbnails and see what works to know a better thumbnail. You have to script podcasts to know what works and to make better podcasts. You have to actually put it out there to know what works, to get feedback. If you don't get feedback, what are you iterating on? What are you trying to get better than? Nothing. And action actually creates visible progress. In your mind, it's just in your mind. It's just in theory. You're just imagining the progress. But taking action actually shows you that progress, actually shows you what's good, what's working, what's not. Like, it lays things out flat for you to see. So force yourself to take action, whether it's doing it for 15 minutes a day and then progress upward. What I've been telling myself is, do your default, and if you're trying to build a habit, let's say the least you can do is 10 minutes. On Monday, start with 10 minutes. The next day, start with 10 minutes and 2 extra minutes. Or 10 minutes and maybe 10 extra minutes, depending on how you can go. And you may feel, well, Princess, that's too slow. Trust me, being slow is better than not starting the journey. If you're trying to run a race but you don't have the ability to run, and all you can do is jog a bit or even walk a bit, it's still better than just standing at the start line hoping and thinking about ways, oh my God, I wish I could run right now. Walking is still better than thinking of running. So yeah, this was a good yap session. I really aired out my thoughts for myself and for you. I hope you picked one thing or two. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a like down below, leave a comment, let me know what you think. Subscribe if you haven't already. Get out of your own head, and I'll see you in my next week's episode.